You know, if I could share one thing, this is probably one of the most important parts of the podcast if somebody's listening. And when you step into your purpose, watch out.
Ryan Stevens is a U.S. Marine combat vet, a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu second-degree black belt, competitive shooter, mixed martial arts practitioner, entrepreneur, and host of the viral Mindset Minute video series on TikTok. Among his tours to Iraq with the Marines, Ryan served as a combat motorcycle operator during the initial push into Iraq. Let's talk about who's Ryan and what are the things that you went through who made you who you are now.
I feared if people knew that about me, then they wouldn't love me or accept me, right? There's 3 levels of negativity, and your listeners really need to listen to this.
If you were to speak to their heart, someone watching now that feels unworthy, what would you say?
And then as I got older, right before, I ran away, I remember telling them that I was going to own a Saline Mustang. How amazing is that?
That is awesome.
I told him, I said, I'm going to own it. And he said, you'll never own that. You'll never own that. I said, I'll own it one day. I remember telling him in my living room. He said, you come from a poor family, stop dreaming. This is what reality looks like. Life is hard, Right. It's not all roses and whatever when you get out of here. And I remember in my head being like, you're an idiot. Like, life is what you make it. And I still had a cold heart when I ran away, and even when she spoke life into me, it just kind of confirmed my own internal beliefs. Like, you're gonna do something great one day. You're something special about you, she told me.
So if there's someone watching that was in the shoes I was in, where they don't feel worthy, or they don't feel like there's a plan or there's a mission for their life, this is something I learned much later, and it took a lot of work to get there. If you were to speak to their heart, someone watching now that feels unworthy, what would you say?
That God loves them, and they are special and unique. There's only one of you. There's only one of you. There's only one of me. And God formed you for a specific purpose, and that he loves you, he cares about you, and that you're special, and that he has a purpose for you. And when you step into your purpose, watch out, because you want to talk about a turbocharged life. You want to talk about a life to the fullest. You want to talk about happiness, fulfillment, and a legacy. Walk in your purpose. And so what happens is that love doesn't come. Like before, I said I didn't have a father. I always had a father. I would tell people is to pick up. We get religion messed up. Well, religious, people say, Ryan, are you religious? No, I follow Jesus. And so what I would challenge them is to pick up a Bible and read what it says about love and how much he loves you and what he sacrificed for you. And that love is different. Once I realized that I had a heavenly father that loved me unconditionally and that he built me for a unique purpose, and what was my purpose? And somebody told me one time, he said, I wish I would have known it now, known when I was younger. What I know now is ask God what he calls you. What does God call you? See, in the Bible, it always talks about how he changes names. Throughout multiple times throughout the Bible, Saul became Paul. Just over and over. I mean, there's so many. When they wrestled the first grappling match, called him, was it Israel, right? It was his name afterwards. There was all these times he changed the name. So the question is, go pray and ask God what he calls you. When he calls you, he's going to call you something special. And that's probably going to be your purpose. I remember praying one time and God told me, I never heard his voice, right? Like, Ryan, but like, That would be cool, but that's not how it went down. But just this thought that was coming through, and he called me the shield. And the more I pondered on that, that is my life.
Yeah.
If you know me,
Absolutely.
is that not accurate to the T?
100%.
Yeah. He called me the shield. Dude, goosebumps right now. Look at that. Verify it.
Verified.
Verified, bro. He called me the shield, and I go, that's my purpose. And every time I walk as the shield, guess what? I'm here to protect others. I don't like bullies. I love forced humility.
Yes.
You know, these type of things, that's exactly what God called me to do. And when I walk in my purpose, dude, there's an outpouring of, you stop and look like success, like whatever we call success. That's just God's favor. You know, so to answer your question is, if you are in a home of abuse, one, you got to let somebody know.
Yeah.
You have to talk about it. You know, I know how fearful that is.
Absolutely.
Dude, this sounds crazy, man. I'm a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. I have 2 black belts. I've fought MMA.
Yeah.
You know, I fought 2 weeks ago. You know,
Yeah.
there's still a deep-rooted fear for that dude in my heart. My wife asked me, she said, if he was still alive, could you beat him up? And I said, I don't know. Isn't that weird?
No,
You know?
it makes sense. If you've been there.
Yeah. But just so why I say that is that the fear is real, right?
Yeah.
I know damn well I could beat the brakes off of him right now. Easy. I know this.
Yeah.
You know? But the deep-rooted fear there, but you have to tell somebody. You have to let somebody know. You have to seek out and you have to get removed from that situation. And that can be very difficult. But abusers, what I found about abusers is they're always preying on the weak.
Yes.
Soon as you get somebody, that's why I love going straight to the bully. Hey, big dog, we got a problem? Are we friends or are we not friends?
That's right.
You know? Because once you poke the bubble, they operate in this safety zone. Like he operated in a safety zone. And if somebody could ever come in there and pop that bubble, it would have changed. And it did, actually. Kind of talk about this. I went to Marine Corps boot camp. Like you, I was working as a transit cop in Spokane. Planes hit the tower. I signed up, started boot camp September 17th, 2001. 6 days after planes hit the tower, I started boot camp. Graduated boot camp. First thing I did is came home. Bro, different mindset out of boot camp, right?
Definitely.
What I loved about the Marine Corps, man, I said this to my mom. I said, and it's probably hateful, and I should probably, pray about it. But I told her, I said, you didn't raise me. I said, the U.S. government raised me, and the Marine Corps did. The Marine Corps gave me my parent. They parented me. Well, then what is boot camp? 10 weeks, 13 weeks?
13 weeks.
So in 13 weeks, I got like the Matrix download of what.
Yes.
Integrity, discipline, responsibility, so I learned all these things. They parented me. So I said, you didn't raise me, the government raised me, and the Marine Corps raised me.
Yeah.
But dude, I came home and I walked in our home and I looked him straight in his eyes and I said, if you ever touch my sister, now that my sister was involved in our family, I looked at him, I said, you ever touch my mom, my sister, or me again, I will kill you. That's the first time he ever said he loved me. Is that crazy? He cried, he bawled himself down, started bawling, and he said, I love you, I'm proud of you.
Wow.
Didn't hit anything. Heart cold. Didn't even accept it.
Yeah.
Didn't even
Didn't faze you.
No.
Just words.
Just words. But why? Why did he cry? Why did he break down?
He was caught.
Pop the bubble.
Yep.
And so the thing about it is the people, if they're listening, the bubble's got to be popped. They've got to be caught. They've got to be exposed, and then know that you're loved special. The Bible says that you're loved and highly favored. You're blessed and highly favored, and you have to believe that in your heart, that you're special. You're uniquely made. I didn't realize until later on in life.
Yeah.
I didn't even know what love was, to be honest. Even when I married my wife, which is crazy.
I get that.
Now, dude, oh my goodness. We've been married 17 years. I feel like we're dating.
Yes.
I'm all doing dishes. You walk by and just slap my butt, So now I know what love's about. But I didn't really know until, you start to get this internal healing.
Yeah.
If I could share one thing, this is probably one of the most important parts of the podcast if somebody's listening. Number one thing, if I could tell anybody, you go through life from a child, you're carrying a rucksack. And if you don't know people don't know what a rucksack is, it's a huge backpack we carry in the military, all of our stuff in it. So when I'm cruising through life, one pebble of something hits my backpack. And that just through life, it just continues. It could be, trauma as a kid. It could be, your coach told you you're never good enough. It could be that your dad said, why didn't you try harder, you loser, or whatever, or your mom didn't left you, or there was a divorce and it just boom, boom, boom. You went to war and you watch people get killed and it's just trauma. Soon that backpack is so heavy. That's where life stops for a lot of people. They either give up, they lose heart, they commit suicide. So how do you empty the sack? You have to ask yourself this question, and this is what changed my life, one of the changes, is you have to live like, I had a buddy of mine, his name's Rob Heffley. He's one of my best friends, you guys know him.
Yeah.
He said, you live in America, right? You're free? I'm like, yeah, dude, I fought for freedom. I love America. He said, you're not free. He said, you'll never be free until you have nothing to fear, nothing to hide, and nothing to prove. I had all three of those.
Yeah.
I feared my stepdad. I feared failure. I feared not having the approval of other men. Right? There was a lot of fear in my life. I feared that if people knew how I grew up so poor that I had to eat out of garbage cans behind not Kroger. It was what is the Safeway is what's in Washington State. They would throw away the food, and we would have my stepdad would go get it and bring it home, and we'd eat that. We didn't have enough money. There was times that I was homeless, living with my mom. She ran away from because abuse so bad, and we lived in a car. Yeah. And so I feared if people knew that about me, then they wouldn't love me or accept me, right? So there was fear there. Nothing to hide. Man, through all the trauma in my life, there was self-coping. Sometimes I would have some drinks or, live in a bad lifestyle, seeking validation through violence or girls, right? And so, nobody's proud of that.
Right.
And then lastly is prove. Man, I had everything to prove. I wanted everybody to know that I had what it takes because I wanted a man to tell me, hey, you have what it takes. And that's what made me so successful in the Marine Corps.
Same here.
Yeah, it's because I'll do the hard stuff.
Yeah.
I want you to tell me I have what it takes.
Yeah.
And so those three things, man, I had all three of those. And once you start to empty that rucksack and you start pouring out those buckets of nothing to hide, nothing to prove, and nothing to fear, you ask yourself, dude, now I walk in freedom. Now I really have nothing to prove, and I think that's what makes me a really good jiu-jitsu coach. I don't have to be the toughest in the gym anymore. I don't have to. And I think people really appreciate that. It's not uncommon that I'll roll with a blue belt, and then for the blue belt's benefit, I'll tap to the blue belt to let them win. And that win will motivate that blue belt for the next 6 months to a year. Yeah. And he knows, deep down, he knows I gave it to him, but it's the humility piece to say, hey, man, but if I had an ego or something to prove, he would never get that benefit, right?
Right.
And then the hide part is just going to my wife and confessing everything and going to the bottom of the cross and just giving everything up. Just literally grab your rucksack and dump it out at the bottom of the cross, man. Whatever's spoken and brought to the light, no one can ever use against you.
That's right.
And there's freedom there, right?
Absolutely.
It's real freedom.
Yeah, real freedom. I mean, people say, man, Ryan, why are you so positive? Bro, because if you were going where I was going, you'd be positive too. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Bro, every day is a blessing. Every single day.
That's right.
Every day. I don't have bad days. I have bad hours. I have bad minutes. I don't have bad days.
Yeah.
Life's too short for that. If you knew that life was only a vapor, be gone. Do you know what I mean?
You'd let that shit go.
Yeah, 100%. I was talking to a student recently. So I train cops for a living.
Yeah.
I'm
going to throw something out real quick. It's an observation that I made when Jess and I came down before my first transplant. We came and sat into one of the classes you were teaching over at Graybeard MMA, the frontline course for the law enforcement, right?
Yeah, uh-huh.
And at the end, you were talking about different positions and different techniques, and you're a second-degree black belt. You're leading the class, and someone says, "Hey, how about the honey pot position?" And you're like, I don't really know that one that well. You probably should talk to RJ. That, to me, is a shining light on your humility. You're the one leading the class. People are asking you, the 2nd degree black belt, what about this position? Everyone knows this position. What are your thoughts? And you're like, I don't really know that one that well. To me, and I think to anybody who's ever been to a martial arts class, would see that as something as unique and powerful and an example of your true humility. You got nothing to hide. You got nothing to prove. Like, I don't have to prove to you that I know every single position and every single thing.
Yeah.
Isn't there a freedom there?
Isn't there a freedom there?
Absolutely.
Is there a freedom there to say, like, I don't know?
Yes.
And I think that's also fear of judgment. Fear of judgment is so powerful. My wife talks about that as a woman, the fear of judgment. What are they going to think about me, this and that? Dude, when you let that go, there's such a freedom. Like, I don't know. Am I supposed to know everything? I don't know.
Right.
And so I really appreciate you saying that. And that took a long time because, and that's internal healing. And, I went through a thing that I'll give credit for. And if your listeners are learning, is a thing called Man Alive Expedition. And I'm paying for you to go.
You've invited me to this, and
you're gonna go.
Yeah,
I'll
go.
kidnap you if you're gonna go. Dude,
I'll be there.
It changed my life.
I'll be there.
It changed my life. I never really was I knew God was there, and I look back on it like when there's times in Iraq. That dude was there. And if you don't believe, like, man, I don't believe in that. Okay, go to war.
Yeah.
I watched people who believe in nothing pray before we went in. We were about to do a raid. My turret gunner's up there like. And I'm like, what are you doing, bro? He's like, I'm praying. This one I don't have a good feeling about. I was like, dude, I didn't think you went to church. He's like, I do now, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that was a huge experience for me.
The Man Alive conference.
Yes, because it's nothing really special. They ask questions and go pray about it. And this soul searching, this internal reflection, you look in the mirror and say, what do I really see? And if you're unhappy with that, and what I realized, I had a hard heart, dude. One of my best friends committed suicide. Dude killed himself. Buddy called me and says, hey, dude, Cody just killed himself. I go, cool. And I hung up the phone. Felt nothing.
Yeah.
Zero. No. Dude. And when I first married my wife, the first couple years of my marriage, zero empathy. Zero. I'm sick. I don't feel good. Cool. Tell me when you feel better. Zero empathy. Partially because of my childhood, partially because of Iraq.
Yeah.
Zero empathy. And then I started looking in the mirror and I'm like, dude, is that the man that I want to be? Is that a reflection of Jesus? If we want to be somebody, we want to look up to somebody. Let's look up to Jesus, right? Let's model after him. And he's not the soft guy that you think he is. He's actually a gangster, And so I'm like, okay, let's model after him. And I started looking. He had empathy for everybody. He walked through a crowd. One person's hurting. Thousands of people around. He turned around and said, hey, man, you okay? What you need? Hey, man, I can't see, or I'm bleeding, or hey, real quick, boom, you're good. Stand up, follow me. Out of 1,000 people, he would realize one person's hurting. Maybe I should have some empathy, you see?
Yeah.
And so I started trying to figure out, and then opposite of the humility part is like the devil, right? You want to talk about what got him thrown out of heaven?
Pride.
Yeah, pride and entitlement. I deserve,
Yes.
and I'm the best.
Yeah.
Then let's not do that. Let's be honest. I'm not the smartest guy. I'm no Bible philosopher. I'm not a pastor, but let's not do that.
Right.
And so then you start robbing yourself of this ego thing and it's all rooted in those three basic things.
I was just thinking about that because those are the three things that keep you from being able to look in the mirror and actually face who you really are, like that deep secret person that no one else has ever really seen. And I think most people were too afraid of what they're going to find if they look there.
That's right. And you know how many people we walk through life wearing masks? You wear a mask for each group you're with or whatever.
Yes.
You're never going to be loved, especially with a spouse, until you're your authentic self. Period. Never. You're never going to be comfortable with yourself until your authentic self.
Yeah.
Never. You know what I mean? And so when do you pull off the mask, look in the mirror and say, who am I truly? I realized that, dude, it hurts my heart now to say how many dudes that I've hurt. Back in the day, I'd fight you at a drop of a hat. I used to bounce at rookies in Oceanside. I'd stroke your chin quick. But I was trying to prove I wanted to be the tough guy. I wanted to let everybody know that I was not one to be abused or taken advantage of, right? And so I look back on it, and that was all rooted out of fear. You know, now I'm not the guy. I'll do everything I can not to fight a guy. I don't want to fight. I don't like hurting people. Like I was telling you before, I roll with a guy, I'm smashing his face, you know, all the pressure of the world. You hear the air just leaking out of his lungs. And I'll be like, hey, bro, are you okay? You know, and I'll ask him in the roll.
I know I just ate your soul.
Yeah.
You good? Are you good with this?
So I don't want to hurt people.
Yeah.
You know, now what I've realized is jiu-jitsu is my therapy.
Yeah.
You know, you can't worry about anything else. You know, I have a little bit of anxiety, stress. I'm trying to think like these little things that I deal with in life. But when I'm on the mat, I don't have time to think about that. I got to think about James robbing me of oxygen, you know? And so that hyper focuses me. There's a community there, a high level of trust. I've got to give you my arm, and you've got to extend it past the we call NROM, natural range of motion, and I got to trust you right before you break it. I tap, you're going to let go.
That's right.
You know what trust do you have there?
And vulnerability.
Yeah, you could truly, you know, I kill people with my bare hands. Truly, you could choke somebody, deprive their brain of oxygenated blood for, you know, 2 to 3 minutes, and if I tap, you don't let go, you kill me.
Yeah.
What other trust do you build like that?
Yeah.
And so it allows me to rebond like the people I did in the military. It's my therapy. You know, it's funny, like my wife, I'll be in the home and I'll bark. And Tara's like, you need to carry your ass to jiu-jitsu. And then on the way to jiu-jitsu, I'm like, get out, you're driving in my lane, F you. You know, but I'm just angry listening to Hatebreed and Pantera. Smash souls, you know. Then I get in there, I train jiu-jitsu. And I'm not the stud. I mean, I'm 43 now. I mean, I still will bang with everybody. I still do stand-up and jiu-jitsu. But I train with some gorillas, man. And they hold me accountable.
Good.
And there's times I will be the nail. And I'll leave with my tail tucked between the legs. And I get in my car, and I'm just at peace. I don't have the energy to fight. And I just try, no, come on, let's share the lane. Oh, you're taking too long at the register? Let me pay. No big deal. Come home, my wife's like, you're a different dude. So jiu-jitsu has been my therapy, you know.
I think there's something in the process of learning where you actually stand amongst your peers and amongst your men.
That's healthy.
That I think that takes away some of the I have something to prove, because now you know where you stand.
Yeah.
It's like going and lifting weights. The iron never lies. You can either deadlift 500 or you can't.
Yep.
It's just fact.
Training teams, training like SWAT teams and training jiu-jitsu. So I've kind of operate in those both realms, right? And what I find is men, it's chaos with no pecking order. But when they have a pecking order, they're cool with it.
That's right.
As soon as I know who's first place, I don't mind being 17th.
I just got to know.
I just got to know. And once a man knows, they're comfortable with it, and there's pecking order. I found that to be very true.
Yeah. I have a question, kind of taking a little bit of a step back. So you were saying the one thing about training SWAT teams is that the men need a pecking order.
Yes.
I think that's remarkable, and I think that's very true. And when you get that in jiu-jitsu, when you know where you stand, there's something so therapeutic about it, where you go to the class, you go in with rage, chaos, hate in your heart, and you come out and you're like, oh, I'm listening to Celine Dion on the way home.
That's right. Well, I also think about this as jiu-jitsu. It's humbling on the highest level because you could do jiu-jitsu your whole life and you're never going to know it all.
That's right.
So you're never going to be the best. And no matter where you are, there's always somebody better than you. So what I like about jiu-jitsu is it forces humility. And when you have a humble heart is malleable, right? You can learn things when you're humble. ego says, I already know it all, you know? But jiu-jitsu forces you to take this humble posture. When you have a humble posture, now you have to learn how to survival, right? Well, then that's the mindset that's cultivated for life. So then you come in, you say, hey man, check out this new whatever rifle. You know, I don't know how to do it. Can you show me? You do the same on the mat, you know? Or a business. Hey man, I'm about to start this. Check this out. What about this new technology you could streamline with AI? Cool, man. Show me. And there's no, oh man, I'm worried about if he judges me or.
Yep.
Why would you not? If I have a guy that's always choking me out, I need somebody to show me the choke defense.
That's right. And there's another really important aspect to this whole ranking thing that I think is just as powerful, where you know where you stand. The other end of the spectrum of forced humility is, from people like me, what I tend to do is I tend to say I'm unworthy. I tend to say I'm not good enough. Or that sense of humility goes too far, and I think I don't know anything. Like someone walks in and they say, hey, you're doing it all wrong. And I go, well, maybe I am. When you get in the mats, you also get to earn it. You know where you stand. You know when you're improving. Because guess what? I just tapped out these 6 dudes. Wow, that's not false confidence. That's real competence.
That's tangible.
I know that and I feel it. So it balances on both ends of that spectrum in a beautiful way that I don't know of anything else that does.
You know, jiu-jitsu is the only one that I can think of, and I've trained in a lot of martial arts. I started doing Muay Thai long time ago.
Sure.
My old coach, rest his soul, Big Bill Dean. I trained jiu-jitsu, Muay Thai for a long time. And then pancration and MMA and then jiu-jitsu. And I really fell in love with jiu-jitsu. It's one of the only ones that you can stop it like a Nintendo and hit the reset button. Only one. Most of them have to do till a time or till someone goes unconscious or till someone submits to pain.
Right.
But jiu-jitsu, no matter where I am, I can reset and start it over. So it gives this freedom that I have control, you know, on the losing end. I still have control of it. You know, something that I would like to point out that you said about the humility piece, there's biblical stuff all over the mat. What happens is the act of following Jesus is submission. So if I can submit to another man, that models to me to submit to a higher power.
That's good.
That's one of the powerful things about jiu-jitsu. You take a man who's got huge ego, I own my bubble, I'm the king of my kingdom, I submit to no one, and I've been there. And then what happens is they come in, they get destroyed in a healthy way. And God gave me this uncanny ability to know how much pain to give a man. You give him too much, he quits.
Yes, that's right.
You don't give him enough, he thinks he beat you.
That's right.
God gave me this uncanny ability. I can see somebody and God gives me this number over their head, you know? And I've been pretty accurate about this.
Yeah.
And it ranges from 2 to 9, you know, out of a 10.
That's right.
There's times you have to knock a dude out to humble him, or just a little bit of pressure. But when they learn this, what happens is it takes them out of their kingdom and realizes like, man, this is the process. I have to submit to I have to let you know that you are about to kill me and give up. That humbles your heart and makes your heart, it takes this posture to say, well, if I can submit him, then it becomes daily deal. No big deal.
That's right.
And do I submit to other belts? 100%. D1 wrestler, 26-year-old gets me in a guillotine, boom. Dude, I tap and I say, man, really good job. Jiu-jitsu works, fist bump. No big deal. Nothing's, no harm, foul. He still respects me. I respect him. We move on.
That's right.
No big deal. But that models tapping to a higher power. We say taking a knee or hands up is a posture of submission. So say there's other powers, you go back in a posture of submission and say, hey, none of this is mine. The money's not mine. The Mustang's not mine. None of that's mine. You know, this is all rented. It's all on loan. And if, you know, I'm not trying to live my life and in his will, dude, he can default on the loan. You know, and so just the jiu-jitsu builds that posture in men. What's really crazy, I've taken 2 types of men to this camp or men camp, and I take one group of men that's never done jiu-jitsu or tactical games or hard things with other men, so resistive to the whole process. I take jiu-jitsu dudes or guys that I've just like grinded with, right? And I've watched them throw up on themselves.
Yeah.
I've watched them cut and bleed on each other. They're the first ones to be like, I'm jacked up. They're the first ones to be like, my life's not right. I know it's not right. The engine can't fix itself. I need to go to a mechanic.
Yeah.
How do I get fixed? Those are the dudes,
Right.
you know? So I think jiu-jitsu builds that posture. That's why they should sign up today. You know?
Yeah. So,
in a good school.
so I think that that's 100% on point. And you've had a long journey getting here. We talked a little bit about your childhood, all of the pain, the suffering, the forge, the fire that formed you,
Yeah, we talked about that. Yeah.
the fire that breaks some metal, forges the other.
That's right. It's the same fire.
For you, how did you become unbroken? Where did you go from that hardened person seeking validation and that cold hardened suffering inside? What was the point? What was that process?
Really good question. One, I think it's a two-part process. One, it's the constant self-reflection.
In you're unique in the fact that you're capable of that self-reflection. Have you always been that way? That you'd always kind of self-assess?
No.
Where did that change?
Robbing my life of negativity and people who don't bring life into your life. So getting away from that negativity and bringing people in your life that are going to speak life into you. And through these relationships, right? And luckily I started to hang around people that they don't talk about people. They don't talk about things and or events. You know, so there's like three tiers. The bottom tier friends that are just rotting the barrel. Those are the ones who talk about people because they'll talk about you.
Yep.
Middle ones talk about events and things. Hey man, did you see my new this in my house? And
Right.
oh man, the Super Bowl, right? Those are okay friends, but they're not going to lift you up. The top tier are the people who talk about self-development and goals.
Right.
And so I've been on a journey of just cutting the fat. And I've had people just talk about self-reflection and looking inside and what kind of legacy do you want to live? See, right now, everything that you have, in 100 years, somebody else is going to live in it. All your awards and attributes and the black belt, you know, my black belt is going to be in Goodwill. Everything, you know, nothing I have will stand the test of time, but what will is your legacy
That's right.
and how you glorify Jesus' name, period. You see what I'm saying? So that self-reflection part of like, am I really being a good father? Am I really being a good husband? Am I really being a good friend? No. Then what do I need to do? I need to chip off what doesn't belong. And that's what's helped me. And the second thing, the number one key thing is victimization. You need to run from it like the plague. Nobody owes you. I cuss a little bit. I love Jesus. No one owes you shit.
You're right.
Period. Believe what you want. No one owes you anything. Not, you know, to the listeners. No one owes them.
No, you're right. You're
No one
100%
owes them anything. And so I've thought about this because now, like you say, they call me at work, they call me a positivity bully.
I love it.
I love when they come in, it's a Monday. I'm like, good. And so on Monday, I cheer like it's Friday. And then on Friday, I treat it like it's Monday.
I love it.
It's mine. Like I love just,
Be the thorn in the side of negativity.
oh yes. There's something that brings me great joy in this. And so they call me the positivity bully. You know, like I said, I don't have bad days. People say, Ryan, then you haven't really suffered yet.
No, it's because of the suffering.
Yes. So this is what I found. Are you ready? And you know what's crazy? I had somebody tell me, about 6 months ago. Said, must be nice to be silver spooned.
I've
Can
heard
I
that
tell
too.
you, no one has given me shit ever. I've had people help me, and I've never been given anything.
That's right.
From being homeless, listen, it was really crazy. From being homeless, living in a car, not knowing what I was going to eat, being locked in a basement, being whipped like a slave, eating out of a garbage can, to guarding a billionaire, to flying all over the country, the things to kick it with millionaires, to own a business, to teach jiu-jitsu, to be a black belt. You know what I mean? Like, these things is crazy. If I would have accepted victimization and said, this is the life, you know, I was battered, I was abused, I was called not worthy, and I accepted that, I would have never experienced what I'm experiencing today. Is that crazy?
It's wild.
And he said, you're silver spoon, it must be nice.
Yeah.
I couldn't even say, I just say, you know what, you're right, man. I'm very lucky.
Yeah,
Because he only sees the tip of the iceberg, not everything that was underwater.
that's right.
You know, it's just crazy to me. You know, it's like, what do they call it? Scars to Stars should be the book that we wrote, that I write. You know,
I like
Scars to Stars. But, anyways, the thing that I've been teaching is, I'm always writing motivational quotes at work. I share scripture. There's a really, you know, people say, Ryan, I'm not religious. I tell you, if you're a warrior, read Psalms. If you want wisdom, read Proverbs. Just, it's got to be a good book. It's been around forever, right? I mean, say you're not religious. It's a bestseller. You know, pick up and read Proverbs.
Yeah.
There's wisdom in there, so I'll share that. But one thing that I've been sharing is that there's 3 levels of negativity, and your listeners really need to listen to this. This is huge. This is I've lost sleep over why are people negative, why are people positive or optimistic.
Right.
Different between positive and optimistic.
That's right.
Okay, so there's 3 levels of victimization, and I relate it to cancer. Okay, so the first one of negativity is surface level. This can be cured through one motivational quote, through a talk, through honesty. That could be changed. You know, guys got a bad mindset. You know, they didn't pick me on promotion, and you come back and you say, "Hey, man, they're watching you." You act right. It can change. You're setting up your, you know, you're setting yourself up by how they're observing you, or guys having a bad day and you come in and you give them a Vince Lombardi quote or something.
They're starting to feel sorry for themselves.
Yeah.
They just need to be shaken up a
Yeah,
little bit.
shake it up. Cut it right off the skin. It's done. Very easy. You can bring those people back. A little bit different here now. Now it's something more internal. Now it's past the skin. So now it's something, it could be a trauma as a kid. They believe they've been wronged, deeply wronged, and something's inside, right? That right there, they have to go through an event. So a good example, they're at work, they believe that they've been wronged, and so, you know, they're not putting in the extra effort. Next thing you know, sliding down the scale of compromise and make a bad decision, they're fired. Their wife leaves them. You know what? My wife doesn't take care of me, so I'm gonna go cheat on her. He gets caught. That changes it, okay? So skin level can be done by a friend. The other one has to be done by event. Worse, uncurable. I can't cure them. Only person that can cure them is Jesus, is when you get cancer of the bone. It's so deep rooted.
Of negativity.
Yes. Well, this is what I'm saying. Like, and I use these exact words, and is where it cannot be cured, is when it's deep rooted of the bone. That, have you ever, my mom, victim, always somebody else's fault. You know, I can't,
several people.
I can't get a job because I can't do this. There's no way. It'll never work for me. This. Well, you don't know what I've been through. And you coach them, and there's still this, you know, there's an individual who just believes that everyone, it's kind of in our circle, that just believes everybody's out to get them.
Yeah.
And no matter how much coaching, whatever, it's so deep rooted.
Right.
They want to believe it.
and there's nothing I can do.
It's actually their identity.
Yes. So Jim Rohn talks about this. Jim Rohn, the motivational speaker, I've listened to every one of his videos. He's kind of my internal motivator, right? I listen to everyone, turn my car into a library. He says there was this one story where this girl comes in and he loves helping people. He says, I need to talk to Jim Rohn. And the assistant's like, dude, I'm about to do a show. I'm about to walk out, but bring her in.
Yeah.
So as soon as he comes in, he looks at her, makes an assessment of her demeanor, right? Comes over and she says, Jim Rohn, he talked to you. I'm working at this job and the job sucks and the people suck. And he goes, okay, real quick, time out. Tell me 3 things that you like about it. And she goes, well, I do get paid, but these people suck. He said, stop, get out of my office. She said, I thought you were the famous Jim Rohn. You help people. He said, I told you to name 3 things. You couldn't name 3 things. You're happy being negative. Get out of my office.
Yep.
That's of the bones. And so we got to ask ourselves, where are we at? It's human nature. You believe you've been wrong, something happened, whatever. But that's when you get into the motivation, you get around your friends, you get something, you get a perspective.
Right.
You know what I say? I tell people all the time, compared to what? It's I'm having a bad day. Compared to what?
Exactly.
Oh man, my back hurts. Compared to what? You're mad at your kids? Man, I can't believe. Compared to what? Not having kids? Compared to what? What are you upset about?
Right.
Put it in perspective. Are we talking about a 1 or a 10 here? Man, I'm so poor. Are you? Compared to what?
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Mud huts?
Yeah, I'm so mad at my husband. Compared to what? Not having a husband? Everything is compared. Man, I hate my job. Compared to what? Not having a job?
We just went through that because James has cancer of the blood and bone. And, we could easily become very victim-minded. And we did for a couple of weeks. But there's something to be very grateful for.
Yes.
So here's the thing. I don't think we became victim-minded.
No, but we became very negative.
We were mourning.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you can be a victim of a circumstance, but not become victim-minded.
That's right. It's okay to mourn. It's okay to cry. It's okay to assess but if you live in it, that becomes your hot tub.
Yeah, that's right.
You have to move. You have to move. And that's one thing I'm going to say about you, man. I appreciate you having me on and asking questions, but you're an inspiration to me 2 ways. 1, you have always been the fringe. You use the fringe patient. Hey, man, you only got 10 years to live. You're wrong. Hey, man, why are you doing push-ups? You're taking chemo because I'm different.
Yeah, because I can.
I love that you are the tip of the spear of optimism. The mind is a powerful thing. It's crazy. They believe, like my grandma, before she died, it's actually Tara's grandma. They gave her wine before she was doing surgery on her and all this stuff to keep her in this homeostasis mindset.
Yeah.
Like your mindset matters.
That's right.
And you've always had that, man. Everything you've done, you have been successful. Man, like from being a cop to SWAT to fire to all these things, man. You are leading from the front. There's nothing you don't touch that becomes the gold. This is nothing different. I guarantee people are going to watch this podcast. It's going to touch them and it's going to change, And then also, you don't know, but you were one of my spiritual mentors. I remember coming in to a police academy and I saw a Bible on the, and I didn't read the Bible at the time. And this guy, I said, man, what's up with that?
Yeah,
And I remember you saying something about in a snarky remark, you should probably read it, you heathen or something like that, And I remember and I looked up to you, man. Like I said, rarely in life, and I'm not trying to be a jerk, I went through the bottom of the ocean and I rarely felt that a lot of people were equally yoked.
Yeah.
I rarely felt it. Rarely felt. And then when we link back up after life, dude, you're still getting it every day. Every day is a blessing. Why are we wasting it?
That's right.
You work out. Every day you're maximizing and people are watching. Your son's watching. People are watching this, and what value are you bringing? Here's what's crazy, dude. We start in life with nothing. We end with nothing. Why not go for it?
Yeah.
Why not? You know, how many cars can you own? As much as you want. How much money can you have? How many languages can you learn? How many souls can you win for Jesus? Why not? Why not go for it? Instead of sit back, wait, and poor me. Go get it. We're playing a game where no one wins.
Right.
No one wins. No one. You're not going to win. I'm not going to win. No one's going to win.
Yeah, Jess introduced a book to me when we first started dating by a guy named Viktor Frankl.
Oh,
Man's Search for Meaning.
dude,
And
Viktor Frankl is the man.
it's amazing. And one of the quotes, I'm not going to get it 100% right, but he said something to the effect of, when they have taken everything from you, you still have one thing, and that's how you respond, how you choose to respond to the circumstances.
Love it. I love Viktor Frankl. You know, EPW. We'll take your fingers off. Take whatever you want. You could take everything, but you can't take my happiness.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, it's all a mindset. You know, and so it's your choice of response and perspective of life. You know, it's going to be hard things, dude. If you think life's not going to try to knock you down, it's going to knock you down. It is, it is. But man, I tell you, the more you surround yourself with positive people, the more you get in the Word. The more I hang out with people like you guys, seem to get lucky. Why is it two people, same circumstances, two different outcomes? How does that work? Same circumstance, same rain that hits me is the same rain that hits you, but yet two different outcomes. See, Jim Rome says the winds of life touch us all, but it's how we adjust our sails. You see, how do we have two different circumstances?
There's I think everybody can relate to this. Jess and her brother, same circumstances,
Two different outcomes.
wildly different outcomes. Wildly different.
He's a heroin addict.
Wow.
And he's actually died twice already and was brought back. And he's
And
had,
he's still victim-minded.
Because his circumstances dictated his outcome.
So he's borderline homeless,
Wow.
heroin addict, has robbed Jess so that he could buy more drugs. There's that one end of the spectrum. Jess is a physician assistant and took life by the horns, got herself a full ride scholarship to Duquesne University, and ran with life. Same home.
Yes. So how does that happen? And what it is you took the pen. He stayed in the story that was written for him.
Right.
You wrote the next chapter. That's what it is.
Yeah.
You know, I tell these mindset minutes, like if your listeners, maybe we could put the link on the
will.
mindset
Absolutely.
minutes.
Absolutely.
I give a mindset minute. God woke me up in the middle of the night and said, you need to tell these people this. You know, you're walking through the park and you see two dudes sitting on a bench. One of them's wearing a suit. The other one kind of looks homeless. You start to get closer and now they start to look similar. One guy looks like, they almost look like they're related. You get closer and now they're sharing food. So you're intrigued. You walk up and go, hey man, what's going on here? He said, this is my brother. Every month we come out here and we eat. And one guy's super optimistic, and the other guy is very victim and has a victim mentality. So he's like, man, so you're brothers? And he goes, yeah, we're brothers. Man, so how did you turn out like that and you turn out like that? And you know what they said at the exact same time? My dad.
I get it.
How did that happen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How did that happen? How did one become a successful businessman that's optimistic and the other one says, my dad, and he becomes homeless and a victim? How does that happen?
It's how they responded.
It's called a choice. I have every right to be a victim, but damn it, I'm not going to do it. My kids, if I accepted it, I would have what's called a generational curse. It would be passed down to my kids.
Yep.
I'm going to leave them better than I found them. And they can too, just like you guys are doing. Both of you guys had a crazy story, and now look what you're doing now. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's a phenomenal.
And you're motivating people, dude. And you need to take that. And you are loved. You know, you came to my community, and people just loved you, man. You know, you are loved. You do have what it takes. You have nothing to prove. you should have zero to fear.
I'm working on that.
Yeah, I'm telling you, you should have zero to fear, zero to prove, and you should have nothing to hide. You'll walk in freedom.
Yeah. I think that through this experience, it has brought me closer to that. It's really forced me to work on my mind and my heart, because I know there's a stopwatch going. You know, it's really forced me to start addressing these things.
And I would just ask you this. Look in the bucket and be honest with yourself. It could be the fear of death. It could be the fear of missing out, of what happens. What are these fears? What is the proving part? What is the hiding part? All of us have part of our bodies. If she really knew who I was, if he knew who I was, would he really love me? Right?
Yeah.
Got to empty those out.
Right.
And answer those questions.
Yeah. And this woman right here, we've been together now, 8 years? When I met Jess, I was a very broken man. I was so twisted and so bent mentally and emotionally. I had just had the single worst experiences of my life leading up to that point. Harder than childhood leading up to this point.
Wow.
And she held my heart tenderly. And she showed me that it was safe to be who I am. And it took me about 2 years to figure that out.
That's so good.
But we're getting there.
Dude, what's awesome is what you just said. Your listeners need to know that is the world is going to tell you opposite of what the Bible tells you, right? And the big thing is we say, if you lone wolf, work in silence. You hear all these things, right? Be the sole man on a battlefield. These are all lies.
Can't do that.
You can't. Not even in combat do we send a sole dude in. Rarely. On so small circumstances will somebody be a solo operator. Even when you bring two, you have a gray man. And then the best, most fighting force is 13 dudes, a squad, right? So Jesus had 13 dudes, 13 dudes with him, right? So the thing about it is who can you bring in your life that's going to speak life into you? Who's going to, they say, a brother's good for battle, right? And that, one cord is easily broken, two is weaving is stronger, three is powerful. So you start building your community of people, dude. I tell my son all the time, show me your friends, I'm going to show you your future. So really start.
Absolutely right.
Yeah. So the whole solo, isolate, be a lone wolf, it's such a lie. Rambo's the only dude that goes to combat by himself.
That's right. And I think there's something really important with this. I've met a lot of people in my life. Well, we all have. I'm 41 years old. I've run across 1 million people. There are probably less than a handful of people I've ever met that I feel this way about, of feeling equally yoked, of feeling like there's a soul connection. And Jess is one of them. I feel like she and I were made in the heavens out of the same piece of material. God separated them. We came back down, and now we fit perfectly back together. Dude. Because we're the same piece of material.
Dude, that's good. Dude, most people wish to have that.
And you're one of those people too.
Man, I appreciate that.
We've known each other for 22 years.
Which is crazy.
Crazy. So we met in 2002, got separated, did our Marine Corps things. 2009, I go to this law enforcement academy, and I hear Steve-O running his beacon behind my ear over here.
Yeah.
Like I look over and like, holy cow, it's Stevens, holy shit, how did this happen?
Yeah.
Right? So God brought us together.
That's right.
We go apart again. I go back down for ground combative instructor. You're there for firearms. Back at the same academy at the same time.
What are the chances of that?
We go apart again. I come back for firearms instructor, and you're there running a course.
Yeah.
We go apart again. So we'll call it 2012 is when I left that department. Here we are, 2024. I want to go to the world's premier facility to manage this cancer.
Yes.
It's in your backyard.
And you come and kick it.
Come and kick it, bro.
Bro.
How can this be anything other than a God connection.
And I agree. And I also think like God put me in your life to encourage you,
Yeah.
you know?
And what I want to say to the people is on this, it's important to, you said surround yourself with people. You got to surround yourself with the right people.
That 100%.
Because the wrong people will break you right the fuck in half.
Oh, and without hesitation.
Yes.
Because you think about it, people are broken. And you say this all the time. You guys know hurt people hurt people. Yeah, so the thing about it is you definitely got to surround yourself with people. You know, at the end of the day, we allow other people to write our story versus, you know, picking up the pen and writing your own story.
Mm-hmm.
We live in a country. You can do what you want. You can be what you want. You can have what you want. Think about that.
So there's hope,
Dude,
to become unbroken.
Yeah, 100%.
Everybody has the ability here.
100%. I remember, I still have the syndrome of where like I'm not good enough.
No, yeah, me too.
You know, I have this. I sit in executive meetings in a suit with people that have way more money than me, and I'm like, I don't belong here.
Mm-hmm.
False.
Mm-hmm.
You can be anything you want, and people. This was really cool. You can write a story that will inspire thousands, hundreds of thousands, like you. You see what I'm saying? You can be the zero to hero. This is America, dude.
That's right. And that's what we're trying to do with this.
Yeah, I hope somebody listens to this podcast and says, you know, I was at the bottom of the barrel. I almost committed suicide. But I listened to the podcast. Man, I changed my friends. I started listening to the right things. I started eating the right things. And I picked up the freaking pen. I picked up the axe. I started chopping.
That's
and boom.
I made my life.
Made it, dude. Because, see, we have keys to cages that other people need to hear, man. There's somebody right now with the same bone cancer you're saying in bed, I can't make it, I'm done. And they're watching you on a podcast.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Ryan, unfortunately, we are right at the end of time. You got to get to your son's game, man.
Yeah, I do.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, come on, man.
For this time. And we got to do this again.
Yeah, you guys are like family. I definitely would like to talk some jiu-jitsu, time overseas.
Yeah, we didn't
like
talk
that.
about any of the military stuff. There's so much more we can dig into.
Yeah.
So we'll do another one of those.
Okay,
so,
cool.
Guys, if you appreciated this, if you liked what we talked about, give this thing a like, subscribe to our podcast. And
Share it.
Yes, please share it. If you think there's something that was said today that someone else needs to hear, please share this with them. Because we're not doing this for us. We're doing this so that we can maybe help somebody else. That's the only goal, the only purpose of us doing this. So if you know someone that this can help, please share it. So until next time, make today great.
Here's your challenge. Don't wait until somebody passes away to tell them that you love them, to tell them that you honor them or you respect them. Why do we wait? When somebody dies and then all of a sudden we memorialize them, we think about all the good times. Why not let them know now? You work in law enforcement. One of your buddies can get shot tomorrow. Military guys. One of your buddies can commit suicide tomorrow. Why do we wait to tell them that we love them? Who's in your life right now that's investing in you? Why don't you go back and let you know, hey dude, I really respect you and I honor you. Just want to let you know, you're investing in my life. You're an asset in my life, not a liability. Why do we wait until they pass away? Hey, I just want to let you know my life's better because you're in it. You know, who is that you need to reach out to? That's for you to ponder. You guys got me?